On to the 8th and final stage of the Tour Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, an absolute beast and a warm-up of sorts for stage 15 of this year's Tour de France, which also finishes on the Plateau de Solaison. Luke TUCKWELL still leads, but the GC favourites are breathing down his neck, and two of his teammates, Danny Martinez and Callum Thornley, have abandoned the race.
I mean, it's obviously not the situation we'd like to be in, but I mean, a lot of teams are down a lot of riders, and today, because of how the parcours is, I think it's kind of one of those days where even if you have teammates, it's still all about the legs on how the leaders do on the climbs.
The Aussie is 42 seconds ahead of Matteo Jorgensen and 49 clear of Isaac del Toro, and it's the Mexican champion who looks the most likely to conquer the race after his stage victory yesterday on Grand Colombier.
I need to take like 47 seconds to the first guy and then don't lose time with the other ones, like 7 seconds to Jorgensen, and then maybe I can win.
Sounds easy.
Pretty much when you say like this, but it's not. Thank you.
Paul Sexas will be on the start line today after his roller coaster stage 7 featuring an early crash and an epic chase.
It
definitely hurts a bit, but it's the last day and we'll give everything. All the medical staff have done a great job. I can hold the handlebars, but my arm is sore, so it's not easy on the descents. I'll do what I can. I had a pretty good night, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Stage 8 is only 120 kilometres, but still boasts almost 4,000 metres of climbing, with the Col du Pré, the Montée de Bizane, the Col des Aravis and the Plateau de Solaison, 11.3 kilometres at 9.1%. It is going to be a gruelling day in the saddle and a fitting finale for one of the toughest week-long stage races on the calendar. There were 8 riders in the breakaway today, most of whom we've seen on the attack in recent days, and 3 of them belong to net company Ineos. Laurens de Plus, Carlos Rodriguez and Kevin Vauquelin. The British squad are now outside the top 10 on GC and were targeting a stage win. Harold Tejada, Valentin Paré-Peintre and Georg Steinhauser were also in there, along with Leo Biziot, a teammate of Paul Sexas, and Clement Brazafonso in the polka dot jersey. The Frenchman looking to seal victory in the mountains classification. And that is exactly what he did after taking a maximum haul on the first 2 climbs, building an unassailable lead. Brazafonso, the top climber of this 78th edition. Well, the maximum gap between break and peloton was about 2 minutes 40, but it was down to 1.5 minutes as they hit the Col des Aravis. Little Trek setting the tempo as they caught Peyo Bilbao, who had tried unsuccessfully to bridge across. Meanwhile, Sexas was forced to abandon earlier in the day, Decathlon not taking any risks with their young star ahead of the Tour de France. Little Trek continuing to put pressure on the break, and the gap was down to under 1 minute as they approached the top of the Col des Aravis. It didn't look like the 8 guys up at the front would be going all the way. Juan AYUSO's teammates still doing the lion's share of work in the peloton, with UAE and Visma just taking a back seat for now. As for the race leader Luke TUCKWELL, the hike to the Plateau de Solaison would just be a matter of survival. On to the final climb then of this Tour Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, and UAE suddenly swarmed at the front of the GC group for Del Toro, setting a tempo that a lot of riders were unable to handle. Valentin Paré-Peintre appeared to be the strongest man in the breakaway, although Rodriguez was holding on as de Plus faded.
And now in difficulty, the yellow jersey. Maxime Van Gils looks around. He's going to try and pace him.
Well, Paré-Peintre was named the day's most combative rider. He and Rodriguez would be the last men standing from the breakaway, because just behind them, UAE were getting ready to launch Del Toro.
And here is now the bid to win this race. Del Toro starts, and he just rides away. Isaac Del Toro has just exploded into life.
The Mexican champion quickly joining the 2 leaders and then sailing away solo with around 8k to go. The fight for the podium was very much on meanwhile between TUCKWELL, AYUSO and Jorgensen. The young Australian around 25 seconds behind his 2 rivals. They were in a group with Tobias JOHANNESSEN and Christian Rodriguez. But AYUSO then attacked as well in his quest for the overall podium. Jorgensen and the rest unable to respond. With Del Toro heading for victory, Jorgensen was now struggling to save his spot on the podium. The American would even be caught by TUCKWELL before the end of the climb. A superb effort from the young Australian, ably assisted by Maxime van Hils. Jorgensen fighting all the way, but this wasn't to be Visma Lease Bike's week. Instead, it was UAE team Emirates XRG preparing to celebrate victory, with the overall podium taking shape. AYUSO third, TUCKWELL second, and Torito in first.
And he gets ready to take the spoils of victory for 2 days running. The Mexican majestically rides to the top of this mountain. Smiles from Isaac Del Toro. It's back-to-back wins, and now the stopwatch starts. Del Toro rampages his way up the mountain.
Isaac Del Toro proved on this final weekend that he was the #1 climber in the race. The Mexican denied a proper battle with Sexas, but he dominated the rest of the field to take his third GC win of the season after the UAE Tour and Tirreno Adriatico.
That's super nice, honestly. I'm super happy about today. I did the recon some months ago. I didn't know until 2 days ago this was the same climb that we do, but it was nice to remember the recon with Tade, and super cool to have the victory with the team. Is just insane.
Del Toro winning the stage by exactly a minute, followed by AYUSO and JOHANNESSEN. A great effort from TUCKWELL to finish in the same group as Jorgensen and stay on the overall podium. This is the 6th GC win of Del Toro's career, and all three this year have come at World Tour level. His final margin of victory, 54 seconds over TUCKWELL, with AYUSO sneaking ahead of Jorgensen into third place. Nadav Reisberg led the points classification practically from start to finish. The NSN rider taking green by a comfortable margin of 16 points from Raul Garcia Pierna. And Braz Afonso dominated the mountains classification. Like Reisberg, he led from stage 2 onwards. 31 points today to finish on 71, with Del Toro in second. The top 3 overall were also the top 3 in the youth classification, with Del Toro 22 ahead of 21-year-old TUCKWELL and 23-year-old AYUSO. The kids taking over at the Tour Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes as the focus now switches to the big one, the Tour de France, which starts in Barcelona on July the 4th. Join us for that in a few weeks, and thanks for watching.